the human and environmental consequences will be with the people for generations to come. You know, we're 20 years now after the explosion. The long-term implications are quite serious for 7 million people in that region.
Arrival in Minsk can be unsettling. In many ways, time has stood still in Belarus since the breakup of the Soviet Union. As cameras are impounded while paperwork is checked and double-checked, it's clear that while the Soviet apparatus may be gone, the old restrictions are still in force. Any chance of post-Soviet autonomy for Belarus died in 1986. Today, life in the capital, Minsk, several hundred kilometers north of Chernobyl, is relatively normal and radiation-free. But it's not just distance that separates the north from the poisoned south. For 2 decades, the state has been supporting millions of citizens affected by Chernobyl. It's a huge burden for a country already robbed of its future, and Belarus is eager to move on.
There's a certain arrogance about the city regarding the people outside this area. There's 2 million people in here, but you go 10 kilometers in any direction out of this city and you see a totally different situation. You see poverty, and you see depression, and you see despair. Whereas this city can get on with it, show off, be very, very positive in every way. A wonderful city to come to, a great city for tourism. But what about all the other 8 million people that are just forgotten? And it's something I find very difficult to take. As you move from Minsk, there's a big change happens. But the change is a gradual change. The further you move from Minsk, the more depressing it gets. The people out there are forgotten, you know, and the problems of 7 million people in that region are disregarded by the rest of the developed world. The state's commitment has been huge, of course, to the whole problems of the disaster after Chernobyl. And slowly that money has been reduced.
Like most of the old farming towns of South Belarus, Vesnova has barely changed in 2 decades. When Duncan left in 2003, the renovation of the old orphanage had just begun. Adie's keen to show him the progress made since then.
Hello. Oh, Izzy, hi. How are you?
Good to see how you did. Duncan, since you were here, I have to say, I hope you will see a mammoth change to this, because we've done ferocious work.
The builders are working on the second unit now,
The builders are working on the second unit. Massive installation, you'll be delighted to hear, has gone in.
The work that began here in 2003 is ongoing, but already the old building has been transformed and heavily insulated against winter temperatures that can fall to minus 40 degrees.
It's a much brighter place, it's a much warmer place,
I have to say,
and
it's just
much more comfortable for the children when you compare it to the other.
Ryan is a project manager. He's been kind of managing a lot of the projects out here. I have great regard for him. These panels just go on here, yeah? Very simple. If this is the standard of what's going on, sure, this is better than any hotel in the country here in Belarus, I have to say. Fabulous.
I think it's delighted with this, you know, to be honest, it's great to see kids upbeat, you know, I really wasn't looking forward to coming back here.
Coming here this time now, I think they're so much more positive, you know. I remember sometimes going to awards and kids were actually tied to the beds. And they just rock in their beds, and it was so sad. But look at this, isn't he great? Such a positive kid. Hey, tickles, I'll have to tickle you to get away.
Another radical improvement is the plumbing. Virtually non-functioning 2 years ago, now completely modernised with new toilets, sinks and bathrooms.
Look at this, a shower for the first time in their lives. That's great.
There's no smells, and I can just imagine it full of the kids. They'll be in here in a couple of days' time. It's wonderful, and it's just absolutely everything I had dreamed about that it could be. It's beautiful.
They won't know themselves,
Lovely.
lady.
In the ward. here. And we found this place literally, as you can see, at the end of the road. And I mean, we kind of felt that the first day we came that the kids, the message for them is that they've reached the end of their road, because they don't go beyond here. Either they die or they go to an adult mental asylum. What we want to try and do is to skill build here, like to help the children to become more self-reliant, more independent, and that they can start maybe independently living. We just opened this in May, and actually you were here about 2 days before your accident. I don't know if you remember that. And the lads were working here. I think you did a bit of carpentry yourself.
Like the builders, the nurses who come here are all unpaid volunteers.
Wow. Tell us about that. What goes on?
Around 6 arrive every month to help and share skills with their Belarusian colleagues.
And what we have here is, this is the very high dependency unit, Duncan. 1 or 2 kids that I wanted you to be introduced to. God. About this little boy.
Yeah, this is Maxim Petrov. He's one of the most unwell children here at the moment.
He's wasting away.
He's palliative care now, really.
Right.
Where our main concern is his comfort.
Right, that at least he's not in pain.
Yeah.
And how many times have you come out here now?
This is my 6th time.
Really?
But once you've been out here once, then there's everything in the world to come back for.
That Aoife comes off night duty. Now, she wouldn't tell you this, but it's true. She comes off night duty, hops on a plane, grabs her bag, and she's here. And she's here 24 hours a day with Maxime in whatever time he is left.
You comfortable? Okay. Thanks, Aoife.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I suggested putting glass around it and make it into space that you could. But I never thought it would happen.
You said, make a sunroom here,
Yeah.
and we said, yes, oh wise one, we will do it, because we thought you'd kill us if we didn't.
That was
so
just...
we did. And
I didn't expect this, Adie, and it's fantastic. I never thought it would be as good as this.
And you had the vision, and we had the manpower. So when you see the kids, they were all in beds the last time you saw them. Do you remember that?
Do.
Yeah, and none of them could move, and they were in their own waste. Not even in proper beds.
That's great. Thanks, Adie. Adie, you've been fantastic. By the way, fire, you know, important.
No, don't go into work mode. No, you're not.
I know.
No,
It's just to
you're-
remember, you know.
I know, don't worry. All that will be taken
obviously,
care of.
and I'm sure it is.
The image you take away from your Duncan is of smiling,
Sure.
happy children.
In the end, these institutions are not the solution. But once there is an institution here, then we've got to make it as good as we can for them and get the best nurses in here, get a positive attitude with the staff, you know, get them motivated, get them interested, and that's all happening. The staff are changed here. It's fantastic. But the real solution is to get them out into foster homes, back integrated into society.
Travelling southwest from Vesnova, Duncan was once again headed for the town of Zhitkovichi, where the daycare centre he designed in 2003 was now finished and fully operational. He and Galina Grigorievna, the social worker who inspired him 2 years ago, haven't seen each other since the accident.
Hi, Galina. How are you? It's great to see you.
Ой, вы здравствуйте, здравствуйте. Ой, молодец, приехал к нам, поглядите, кто к нам приехал. Молодец, спасибо, спасибо. У нас всегда чисто, хорошо, красиво и всегда здесь дети.
When people come here, so they can't believe that it's very comfortable here and very light, and they say, "Oh, we are like in another country here."
And is it warm?
And thanks
Is it warm enough?
to
Not
you.
me, no, I did very little. I did so little because, you know,
Только благодаря,
it's all these guys that have done it all, you know.
Thanks to you.
We've waited for this moment.
Absolutely.
I remember when
This is very
Duncan was
special.
in and out of consciousness.
Yeah.
The one thing that bothered him was that he felt he'd left the builders down.
Yeah.
You probably don't remember that, but
I do.
every second you came in and out, you said, I've left the lads down.
I know. Well, you know, here's where the inspiration came from, and from you, Eddie, I have to say, and you know, I just passed it on to mine.
Все вместе.
That's it over, yeah.